Naomi's grandmother was missing. The call came at 3 in the morning, 6 days after she'd been released from the hospital. Jinwoo's phone lit up the darkness of his bedroom, and the voice on the other end made his blood run cold. "Sir, there's been a breach in Atlanta. The security team at Mrs. Washington's residence is not responding. The house is empty. No signs of struggle, but the grandmother is gone." Jinwoo looked at Naomi sleeping peacefully beside him, her injured shoulder finally healing. Her face relaxed in a way he rarely saw when she was awake. And he knew he'd have to break her heart all over again. Because his father had made his move, and the war had officially begun. Welcome back to True Soul Stories. If you watch part 2, then you already know things spiraled fast. But what happens next? Nobody is ready for it. This is part 3, and I'm telling you right now, what you're about to witness will change everything. Hit that subscribe button because you're going to need part 4 after this ends. Let's get into it. 3 hours later, Naomi sat in Jinwoo's home office, hands wrapped around a cup of tea she couldn't drink, staring at the screen showing her grandmother's empty house in Atlanta. The furniture was undisturbed. No blood, no broken windows, no signs of violence. Just gone, like she'd vanished into thin air. "They took her while she was sleeping," Kong explained, pointing at the security footage. "Professional extraction team. For people. In and out in 90 seconds. They disabled our surveillance remotely, but the neighbor's camera caught this." He played the video. For people in dark clothes carrying an elderly woman wrapped in a blanket to a waiting van. Too fast to see faces. Too coordinated to be random. "She's alive," Jinwoo said firmly, his hand on Naomi's shoulder. "They took her alive, which means this is leverage. They want something. They want me to leave you." Naomi's voice was flat, dead. "That's what your father wants, right? For me to disappear so you'll come back to the family. That's not going to happen. Jinwoo, she's my grandmother. She raised me. She's all I have left." Naomi looked up at him with eyes full of agony. "If they hurt her because of me, because I fell in love with you, I'll never forgive myself. They won't hurt her. Not yet. Not while she's useful." Jinwoo crouched in front of her, forced her to meet his eyes. "This is a negotiation tactic. They'll reach out with demands. And then we'll get her back. How can you be so calm? Because falling apart doesn't help her. Action helps her. Planning helps her." He took her hands. "I know you're scared. I know this is killing you. But I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" Naomi wanted to scream. Wanted to cry. Wanted to get on a plane to Atlanta and tear the city apart until she found her grandmother. But she looked at Jinwoo, at the determination in his eyes, the cold calculation that came from years of operating in a world where emotion got you killed, and she nodded. "I trust you." "Good. Because we're going to war. And war requires strategy." His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Jinwoo answered on speaker. "Talk." His father's voice filled the room, dripping with satisfaction. "I see you've noticed our mutual friend is missing. Don't worry. She's being treated well. Comfortable accommodations. Regular meals. Medical care. We're not monsters." "Where is she?" Naomi demanded, her voice shaking. "Ah, Miss Washington. The woman of the hour. The maid who thought she could steal my son." His father's laugh was cruel. "She's safe. For now. Whether she stays that way depends entirely on you. What do you want?" Jinwoo cut in. "Simple. You come back to the family. Resume your position. Marry appropriately. I already have 3 candidates lined up. And Miss Washington disappears from your life permanently." A pause. "Do this, and grandmother gets to see her next birthday. Refuse, and well, elderly women are so fragile. Anything could happen. You son of a. I'm giving you 72 hours to decide. After that, the old woman's usefulness expires." The line went dead. Naomi's teacup shattered on the floor. She didn't remember throwing it. "I have to leave," she said, her voice hollow. "I have to go. If I disappear, he'll let her go. He gets what he wants, and my grandmother lives." "No." Jinwoo, you heard him. 72 hours, or she dies. He's lying. Jinwoo stood, started pacing. "Think about it. If you leave, he has no leverage over me at all. He needs you alive and nearby to keep me in line. The moment you're gone, the moment you're safe, I'll burn his entire world down, and he knows it. Then what do? We find her first. We extract her. And then we end this once and for all." Kong cleared his throat. "Sir, if I may, your father has resources. Safe houses all over the world. Finding one elderly woman in 72 hours is nearly impossible." Nearly impossible isn't the same as impossible. Jinwoo pulled up a map on his computer. He's arrogant. He thinks I don't know about his properties. But I've been preparing for this war for 2 years. I know every safe house, every account, every asset he has. He zoomed in on a location in upstate New York. There. That's where she is. How do you know? Naomi asked. Because it's the property he used to hide his mistress 15 years ago. It's remote, secure, and most importantly, he thinks I don't know about it. He forgets I'm the one who helped him buy it under a shell corporation. Jinwoo's smile was sharp. We leave in 3 hours. Kong, assemble the team. Weapons, tactical gear, extraction equipment. And call our contacts in New York. I want local support ready. Sir, this is American soil. If this goes wrong, it won't go wrong. Because failure isn't an option. Jinwoo looked at Naomi. Pack light, comfortable clothes, and prepare yourself. What we're about to do is illegal in multiple countries. Once we cross this line, there's no going back. I crossed that line the moment I fell in love with you. Then let's go get your grandmother. If you're still watching, hit that like button right now. This rescue mission is about to get insane, and you don't want to miss a second of what happens next. 16 hours later, upstate New York. The safe house sat on 20 acres of wooded property, accessible only by a single dirt road that wound through dense forest. 2 guards at the front gate, cameras covering every approach, motion sensors in the trees. It was a fortress. Jinwoo and his team, 8 men including Kong, all former military, all utterly loyal, watched from a ridge half a mile away. 2 guards we can see, Kong murmured, scanning with binoculars. Probably 4 more inside. Maybe 6. Standard rotation for a property this size. Weapons. Handguns visible. Likely rifles inside. They're not expecting trouble, but they're prepared for it. Jinwoo looked at Naomi, who'd insisted on coming despite every argument he'd made. Last chance to stay in the car. Not a chance in hell. You're still recovering from a gunshot wound. And that's my grandmother in there. I'm going. Her voice left no room for argument. Jinwoo sighed. Fine, but you stay behind me at all times. You don't engage unless absolutely necessary. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understood. Understood. Liar. But he smiled slightly. All right. We go in quiet. Neutralize the perimeter guards first. Then breach the house. Extract Mrs. Washington. Out in under 10 minutes. What about your father's men? Naomi asked. Non-lethal force if possible. Lethal if necessary. I'd prefer not to leave bodies if we can avoid it. But your grandmother's safety takes priority over everything else. They moved at sunset, using the fading light for cover. Jinwoo's team spread out, approaching from multiple angles, silent as ghosts moving through the darkening forest. Naomi followed Jinwoo, her heart hammering so hard she thought the guards would hear it. But they didn't. They were checking their phones, bored, not expecting an assault on a property that wasn't supposed to exist on any official records. Kong took out the first guard with a tranquilizer dart. Silent. Clean. The man dropped like a puppet with cut strings. The second guard went down the same way before he could even register something was wrong. Gates clear. Kong whispered into his comm, moving to the house. They approached the building. A large cabin that looked rustic on the outside but was reinforced like a bunker. Jinwoo's thermal scanner showed 5 heat signatures inside. 4 clustered on the first floor. 1 upstairs, alone, barely moving. That's her, Naomi whispered. That has to be her. We breach on my signal. Team 1 takes the first floor. Team 2 goes upstairs with us. Fast and quiet. Remember, we want prisoners for questioning if possible. Jinwoo looked at his team. On 3. 1, 2, 3. They breached simultaneously, front door and back door, moving with the precision of a military operation that had been rehearsed a dozen times. The first floor erupted in controlled chaos. Jinwoo's men swarmed the guards before they could react. Tranquilizer darts. Zip ties. Professional, efficient, brutal. Jinwoo and Naomi took the stairs 3 at a time, their footsteps thundering in the sudden silence. The bedroom door was locked. Jinwoo kicked it open with a force that splintered the wood frame. Naomi's grandmother sat in a chair by the window, wearing her pajamas, looking terrified but unharmed. Her eyes were red from crying, but when she saw Naomi, her face transformed with relief. Grandma. Naomi rushed forward, nearly collapsing at her grandmother's feet. Naomi? Baby girl, what are you? Her grandmother's eyes widened at the sight of Jinwoo and the armed men behind him. What's happening? Who are these people? We're getting you out of here. Naomi checked her grandmother over frantically, hands shaking as she searched for injuries. Did they hurt you? Are you okay? Did they give you your medication? I'm fine, baby. Confused as hell, but fine. They just grabbed me from my bed in the middle of the night, put me on a plane, and locked me in this room. Said I was insurance for something. Her grandmother looked at Jean Wu with sharp, assessing eyes. You must be the boy she's been sending money for. The one she fell in love with. Despite everything, despite the danger and the urgency, Jean Wu almost smiled. Something like that, ma'am. We need to move. Can you walk? I'm 73, not dead. Of course I can walk. Just don't expect me to run a marathon. They hustled her downstairs, where Jean Wu's team had secured all the guards. 5 men, all zip-tied, all conscious, all glaring with impotent rage at being taken down so easily. Search them, Jean Wu ordered. Phones, weapons, anything that might tell us who else knows about this location. Kong found a phone on one of the guards. Checked the recent calls. His expression went grim. Sir, there was a call placed 10 minutes ago, before we breached. To who? Your father. They told him we were here. Jean Wu's blood ran cold. How long do we have? Unknown. Could be minutes. Could be hours. But backup is definitely coming. Then we move now. Everyone to the vehicles. Go, go, go. They ran. Got Naomi's grandmother into the SUV, engines already running. Exhaust visible in the cold night air. Jean Wu jumped into the driver's seat, and they tore down the dirt road with 2 other vehicles following, headlights cutting through the darkness. They'd made it half a mile when the first shots rang out. 3 vehicles blocked the road ahead, positioned like a professional roadblock. Men with rifles. Professional contractors, not local police. Military precision. Contact front. Kong shouted from the passenger seat. Jean Wu threw the SUV into reverse, spinning in a maneuver that made Naomi's grandmother grab the oh shit handle with surprising strength for someone her age. I'm too old for action movies, baby girl, she shouted over the roar of the engine. Welcome to my life, Grandma. More vehicles appeared behind them, headlights flooding the road. They were boxed in on both sides. Jean Wu assessed the situation in 2 seconds. We're outnumbered. We're outgunned. And they're between us and escape. He looked at Kong. Smoke. Always prepared, sir. They deployed smoke grenades that turned the forest road into a gray hell, visibility dropping to 0. Jean Wu drove blind, using memory and instinct, crashing through underbrush, branches scraping against the armored sides of the SUV. Gunfire cracked through the smoke. Bullets pinged off the armored SUV with sounds like hail on a metal roof. Then they broke through, found a service road Jean Wu had memorized from satellite imagery during his planning. They flew down it, the other SUVs following, pursuit vehicles struggling to navigate the unexpected terrain. They made it to the highway, blended into traffic, became just another vehicle heading toward New York City in the night. In the back seat, Naomi held her grandmother, both of them shaking from adrenaline and fear. You really love him, don't you? Her grandmother asked quietly, her voice surprisingly steady. More than anything. Then I guess getting kidnapped was worth it. Always wanted to meet the man who got my grandbaby sending money overseas. Never thought it would be under these circumstances, but here we are. She looked at Jean Wu in the rearview mirror. You better be worth all this trouble, young man. I'm trying to be, ma'am. Trying ain't good enough, but we'll work on it. You got time to prove yourself. Despite everything, Naomi laughed. Because of course her grandmother would lecture Jean Wu 30 minutes after being rescued from kidnappers. Some things never changed, no matter how insane life became. They made it back to the private airfield where Jean Wu's jet waited. Security swept the plane thoroughly. They boarded, wheels up within 20 minutes. Only when they were 30,000 feet over the Atlantic, the lights of America disappearing behind them, did Naomi finally let herself believe it. They'd done it. They'd gotten her grandmother back. But Jean Wu's expression was grim as he stared at his phone, reading a message that had just come through. What's wrong? Naomi asked, noticing the tension in his shoulders. We got her. We won. We won the battle. Not the war. He showed her his phone. A message from his father, simple and chilling. You've made your choice. Now live with the consequences. What does that mean? It means he's done playing games. Done with leverage and negotiations. We humiliated him. Stole his hostage. Made him look weak in front of whoever he had watching. Jean Wu's voice was cold. He's going to come at us with everything he has. No more warnings. No more chances. Let him come. We'll be ready. You don't understand. My father has resources you can't imagine. Government connections. military contacts, criminal organizations on 3 continents. When he says war, he means total war. Naomi took his hand, squeezed it. Then we fight. Together. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, he echoed. But as the plane carried them towards Seoul, neither of them noticed the GPS tracker that had been placed on Naomi's grandmother's clothing during her captivity. So small it was nearly invisible, sewn into the hem of her pajamas, broadcasting their location to anyone who cared to listen. And in Seoul, Jinwoo's father received the signal with a satisfied smile, watching the blinking dot move across his computer screen. "Welcome home, son," he murmured to the empty room. "Your execution awaits." Comment Part 4. Right now, if you need to see what happens next because this war is about to reach levels nobody expected, hit that subscribe button and smash that like. This is True Seoul Stories, and we're heading into the finale. 72 hours later, Seoul. Jinwoo had moved them to a new safe house, a penthouse in the Gangnam district with security that would make a president jealous. Cameras everywhere, covering every angle. Armed guards on every floor, rotations every 6 hours. Bulletproof windows. Reinforced doors. The works. Naomi's grandmother had adjusted surprisingly well to being protected by armed Korean men who barely spoke English. "They're very polite," she observed, watching 2 guards change shifts with military precision. "Better manners than the boys back home." "Grandma, they're criminals. So's half my church congregation if you count tax evasion and that thing with Pastor Mike's used car business. At least these boys are honest about it." Her grandmother sipped her tea. "And they make excellent tea. I'm learning things." Naomi couldn't argue with that logic. Her grandmother had always been practical to a fault. Jinwoo had been working around the clock, coordinating with Kong, moving assets, preparing for whatever his father would throw at them next. The wall of his office was covered in photos, documents, organizational charts mapping out his father's entire network. "We need to end this," he said on the 3rd night, staring at the web of connections with bloodshot eyes. "He won't stop. Every day we wait, he gets stronger, makes more alliances, turns more people against us, poisons more minds with his version of events." "What are you proposing?" Naomi asked, bringing him coffee he wouldn't drink. "A meeting. Public. Neutral territory. Every family representative present. We air everything. The assassination attempt at the wedding. The kidnapping. The murder plot. All of it." Jinwoo's eyes were hard, determined. "We force the other families to choose. Him or me. His old world or my new one. That's incredibly dangerous. You'd be walking into a room full of people who might want you dead. Everything about our life is dangerous. At least this way, we control the narrative. We tell our story before he can spin it into something else." Kong entered without knocking, his expression urgent. "Sir, we have a problem. A big one." "What kind of problem?" "Your father has called a council meeting. Tomorrow night. He's accusing you of treason against the families. Theft of family assets. Assault on family soldiers. Kidnapping of legitimate business associates. And he's demanding your execution." Naomi's blood went cold. "Execution? It's ceremonial mostly. They can't actually order hits on family members without unanimous consent from all 12 families. But if enough families side with him, they can strip you of protection, make you fair game for anyone who wants revenge or power." Kong looked apologetic. "It's bad, sir. Very bad." "How many families are attending?" "All of them. 12 in total. Your father has been working them for weeks, apparently. Promises of territory, money, alliances. He's positioned this as you being a rogue element that threatens the stability of the entire organization." Jinwoo was quiet for a long moment, processing. Then he smiled. "Good. Good." Naomi stared at him. "How is any of this good?" "Because if all the families are in one room, I only have to convince them once. I don't have to fight 12 separate battles, make 12 separate cases. Just one big one." He looked at Kong. "Tell them I'll attend. Voluntarily. No resistance. And tell them I'm bringing evidence of everything my father has done. Sir, if you walk into that room, there's no guarantee you walk out alive. I know, but hiding won't save us. Running won't save us. Naomi's grandmother being here proves my father will never stop coming after people I love. So we end it. Tomorrow night. One way or another." He turned to Naomi. "I need you to stay here. You and your grandmother. Maximum security. If this goes wrong, Kong has instructions to get you both out of the country immediately." "Absolutely not. If you're going into that death trap, I'm going with you." "Naomi, don't you dare try to protect me by shutting me out. We're in this together. You said so yourself. She grabbed his hands. Where you go, I go? That's non-negotiable. You could die. So could you. And I'd rather die with you than live without you. Wondering if I could have made a difference. Jinwoo looked at her grandmother, who'd been quietly listening from the doorway. Ma'am, can you talk some sense into her? Boy, I raised that stubborn child from 8 years old. You think I can control her now? Her grandmother smiled. Besides, she's right. You're facing down a room full of criminals who want you dead. Having the woman who took a bullet for you standing by your side sends a message. Shows you've got something worth fighting for. Shows you're not alone. Jinwoo looked between them, saw the determination in both their eyes, and sighed in defeat. Fine, but you wear body armor. Full coverage. And you stay near the exits at all times. And if shooting starts, you run and don't look back. Deal. Why do I feel like I'm the only one who understands how genuinely insane this is? Because you are, Naomi said, kissing him. But you're doing it anyway. That's why I love you. The next night came too fast. The meeting was held at a traditional hanok in the heart of Seoul, neutral territory owned by the oldest family, the Choice, who'd stayed carefully out of Jinwoo's war with his father. 12 families. 50 people. All dressed formally. All carrying concealed weapons. All radiating the kind of danger that came from decades of violence. Jinwoo entered with Naomi on his arm, both wearing body armor under their formal clothes. Kong and 4 other guards flanked them, eyes constantly scanning for threats. The room went silent. Every eye turned to watch them enter. Jinwoo's father sat at the head table, surrounded by his allies. Men who'd known Jinwoo since childhood, who'd watched him grow up, who now looked at him with contempt. His smile was triumphant, certain of victory. You actually came. I thought you'd be smart enough to run while you still could. Running was never an option. You made sure of that when you kidnapped an innocent elderly woman who had nothing to do with our conflict. Jinwoo's voice carried through the room with authority. But I'm glad everyone's here. Saves me the trouble of repeating myself 12 times. The eldest Choi, a woman in her 80s named Madam Choi, who'd seen 3 generations of family wars, called the meeting to order. We're here to address accusations of treason brought by Park Jae-sung against his son, Park Jinwoo. Both parties will present evidence. Then we vote on the appropriate response. I'll go first, Jinwoo's father said, standing with the confidence of a man who believed he'd already won. My son has stolen family assets worth millions, assaulted family soldiers, kidnapped business associates, and worst of all, he's betrayed the values that keep our world functioning. He's chosen an outsider, an American maid, over his family obligations. This kind of weakness cannot be tolerated. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. Furthermore, I have evidence that he's planning to leave the family business entirely, to go legitimate, to abandon the alliances and agreements that have kept peace for generations. Jinwoo's father pulled out documents, holding them up for all to see. If we let this slide, what message does that send? That any son can walk away? That duty means nothing? That love conquers all. He spat the last words like they were poison, like love was the most disgusting thing he could imagine. I vote for his execution. Or at minimum, permanent exile without family protection. Let him try to survive in the real world without us. Several family heads nodded in agreement. Madam Choi looked at Jinwoo with ancient, knowing eyes. Your response. Jinwoo stood, pulled out a tablet. I have a different story to tell. One about a father who valued money over his son's life, who arranged a marriage to a woman actively trying to poison me, who knew about the assassination attempt at my wedding and let it happen because my death was more profitable than my life. He started showing documents on the large screen, financial records, communications between his father and the Song family, evidence of the poison, photos from the wedding attack. My father didn't care if I lived or died, as long as he got his merger with the Song family. And when I survived, when I exposed his plan, when I chose life over duty, he kidnapped an innocent woman to force my compliance. The room's energy shifted, uncertainty creeping in. So yes, I stole family assets. They're my assets. I earned them. I built half our legitimate businesses while my father was busy arranging my murder. Jinwoo's voice was cold, controlled. Yes, I assaulted family soldiers. They were trying to kill me at a wedding in front of 300 witnesses. And yes, I kidnapped a business associate. She was my hostage grandmother, and I was retrieving what was stolen from me. He looked directly at his father. And yes, I'm leaving. I'm walking away from this life. Because I refuse to become like you. I refuse to sacrifice people I love for power. I refuse to perpetuate a system where sons are pawns and love is weakness and family means nothing except obligation. Enough, his father roared, slamming his hand on the table. You're embarrassing yourself. Everyone in this room knows duty comes before emotion. That's how we survive. That's how you survive. Barely. Alone. Hated by your own son. Jinwoo's voice was quiet, but carried. I'm choosing to actually live. Madam Choi held up a hand for silence. This is complicated. Both parties have presented compelling evidence. We'll need to discuss privately before voting on the proper course of. The lights went out. Gunfire erupted from outside. The sound of automatic weapons unmistakable. Explosions rocked the building, the traditional structure shuddering. We're under attack. Someone screamed in the darkness. Chaos erupted. People diving for cover. Guards returning fire. Glass shattering as windows exploded inward. Jinwoo grabbed Naomi, pushed her under a heavy table. Stay down. Don't move. What's happening? I don't know. This wasn't part of anyone's plan that I know of. Kong appeared through the smoke and darkness, blood streaming from a cut on his face. Sir, there's at least 20 attackers. Professional military contractors. Well-armed. High-grade equipment. They're targeting the building itself, not specific people. This is a massacre attempt. Who sent them? Unknown. But they're not ours, and they're definitely not your father's people. Someone else is making a play here. Someone with serious resources. That's when Naomi saw her. Through the smoke and chaos and darkness and confusion. A woman entering through the blown-out wall, stepping over debris with casual grace. Tall, elegant, moving with deadly purpose and complete calm despite the chaos around her. She looked exactly like the woman from Jinwoo's architectural sketches. The ones he'd shown her during those late-night conversations months ago that felt like a lifetime now. The drawings of his mother from childhood memories. Jinwoo, Naomi whispered, grabbing his arm hard enough to bruise. Who was that? He looked through the smoke and went completely white, all color draining from his face. That's impossible. She's supposed to be dead. She died when I was 5 years old. I went to her funeral. Who is she? My mother. The woman, Jinwoo's supposedly dead mother, raised a gun with practiced ease and pointed it directly at Jinwoo's father across the chaotic room. Hello, husband, she said, her voice cutting through the noise like a blade. Miss me. Then she fired. The gunshot echoed through the chaos like a bomb exploding. Jinwoo's father dropped, clutching his leg, screaming in pain and shock and disbelief. That's for stealing my son, she said calmly, walking closer through the smoke and debris. Then she turned to Jinwoo, and her expression softened into something painful, something that looked like decades of regret. And you, we need to talk. About what you think you know. About what really happened 25 years ago. And about why I've spent all this time in hiding while you played gangster with a man who tried to kill me. Jinwoo stared at her, completely speechless, his entire world tilting on its axis and spinning out of control. Naomi grabbed his hand, squeezed hard, anchoring him to reality. Whatever happened next, they'd face it together. But the appearance of Jinwoo's mother, alive, armed, and furious after 25 years of being dead, meant everything they thought they knew was wrong. The past wasn't dead. It had just been waiting, and the real war hadn't even started yet. Now I need you to do something for me. Comment Part 4 now, if you need the finale. Hit that subscribe button because Part 4 is going to reveal secrets that will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about this story. And smash that like button to show me you're invested in this love story that refuses to die. This is True Soul Stories. The truth is coming, and nobody is ready for it. In Part 3,